So before I start this session, actually I was wondering how I would start this session with you guys, and then during lunch I came across one of my colleague from a previous work. I actually came from an end user as well before going into the sales side or the vendor side of this industry, and talks about the technology. So I was once an administrator together with my one of my colleagues who's also a delegate right now here in ISOG for a retail company, a conglomerate. Way back, I think we were the ones who totally implemented the start of digital transformation during that age for that company. And one of the challenges I would say is not the implementation. Okay. We did the implementation of, let's say, the Active Directory, the network, and so on and so forth for about a week or two for about 1,500 devices and end users. But the problem was, or the challenge was, the bigger challenge is, how did we educate the number of employees to adapt to the technology? Okay. Yung implementation, it lasted that long lang eh. But having this transition of users coming in and out of the company and educating them how it should be used, and right now aligning it with cybersecurity, that's the bigger role that we have right now. Because one of the things when we talk about the role of priming, as what attorney mentioned kanina, no, it's about somehow educating and having that subconscious of the end user for them to be secured by themselves. It's turning passive users to active defenders. Okay, that's one of the things. So let me give you like an example for this. This week, sino sa inyo ang hindi pa ang nakatanggap ng mga malicious emails or text messages? Like from known entities or known mga emails or known phone numbers or SMS gateway ng mga kung saan man. I'm sure most of us did. With nagkaroon ng timer and there was a lot of text messages we don't know where it's coming from. How did they get our numbers? Offering us work, offering us promos, etc., etc. Personally, I did. 2 weeks ago, I received a text message about reward points expiring. As Filipinos, masyado tayong with rewards. I mean, points yan eh. We will not waste it. For us, we feel that I consumed that, I deserve that, and I should avail of that. Okay? So, yeah, personal experience though. I tried, and then along the process, that's the time when I was diverted to a external link. Doon ko lang nakita that, okay, the link is actually malicious. When I found out, based on the OTP, they were trying to deduct about 150,000 pesos. If wala tayong priming with our society right now, this is a big business para sa mga threat actors. Imagine us who are knowledgeable about it, we can defend ourselves. But how about those who doesn't know? And yun yung malaking role natin here in this society right now. We who knows, should be the one to start this protection for everyone. Okay? Imagine that's about money pa lang. But like, on a bigger scale, if we're talking about technology, communication, utilities, for example, what if that malicious link would turn off the whole grid of the Philippines? The whole power grid of the Philippines. What if you have watched this movie in Netflix, I don't recall the title for that, but that's with Julia Roberts. If it turns off the grid, everything else is down. Mabubuhay for a while because of gensets, but after that, what's next? So that's how big the responsibility is and the risk is for the clicks right now. Why are they targeting the critical infrastructure? That's the backbone eh. If you want impact, if you want to be heard, you have to go big. Why are you going to target small things or small small folks. Okay? If you want to target the bigger ones, most likely the banking, the technology, the utilities, healthcare, for example. All of this infrastructure, yung mga operational technology and so on and so forth, if you target that, you're in the news. Okay? Remember, hackers or hacking is basically a profession for those who do it. And for us who are actually working on the, let's say, the white side of it, we also have the reputation, we also have this marketing, this whole image that we want to build, that we're reputable, we are trustworthy. And for the attackers themselves, they want to be out there known for what they are doing right now. Cyber attacks starts here. It's not in the technology. We can all blame, of course, the brands. Oh, this brand got breached, this one karoon ng leak, and so on and so forth. But if you think about it, okay, the attackers are actually thinking, how do they penetrate us? How do they exploit the weakest link, which is actually the users? Okay? Even though we have the right technology in place, which is actually a good thing, best practice and all, that's what we should do in terms of being proactive. But still, each user, each individual is a weak link if not educated properly. Okay? That's where the role of priming comes in. If you guys are users of other social medias, applications, so on, if you log in right now and you activate multi-factor authentication, take for example Facebook or Meta, they ask you if you are this user. Then the button that they colored blue is basically no. Why? Because if you will base it on a person's perspective on how this all things work at hindi na magbabasa yan, you will just click on the colored button. And if you put it on yes, then you're done. Okay? That way, it's a way of how to use priming for your customers. Basically this one, how priming works in cyber defense. That's how you do it. Okay? And a bigger chance to be protected, of the users being protected, are the one being trained or knowledgeable about priming in cyber defense. Okay. So fragmented identity. We have gone through the priming stuff, but right now, of course, even though we do all of the training, we do everything of this one, it's not 100% assurance that we're all secure. Okay. Lalo right now, there's a lot of identities being created. Us, for example, myself, how many accounts do I have online? How many bank accounts, online banking, telco accounts, e-wallets do you have, social media, email, and so on and so forth. Imagine a person having a minimum of 10 accounts all in all. Okay? And they have to secure all of those. That's actually one of the biggest problem because it becomes exponential right now. From single person, now you're duplicated. And then all of these accounts that you create are actually possible entries for your own digital identity. This slide, I want to talk about personally, I think majority of us here are in LinkedIn. LinkedIn is one of the most used, or in the professional side of social media, that's our social media. But in reality, if we look at the other side, that's also where a lot of exposures can come in. Anong ginagawa ninyo sa LinkedIn ninyo? Nakalagay kung saan kayo nag-work, nakalagay anong certifications ninyo, nakalagay anong ginagawa ninyo sa mga pinagtatrabahuan nyo, and so on and so forth. This is a business card. Okay? A business card that has your phone number and your email address. That's basically your username to your corporate infrastructure. So, again, aligning it to cybersecurity, which starts psychologically. If you think about it, I'll go to LinkedIn, I'll check who my target is, and I'll check who is the most vulnerable target or person that is there. So I look for not the head of security, not the head of administration or security and so on and so forth. I look for the junior ones. I look for your junior administrator. I'll set a meeting with them and probably exchange business cards. What's next? All the information is here. Even if you have your OTP, even if you have your email, you're already there. Okay? So that's one of the things we're in. If we try to think about how we should prepare for this type of attacks, we should think that way. Identities right now should actually be treated with zero trust. We've heard this stuff years back. Hanggang ngayon yun pa rin naman, zero trust. I've handled a lot of products from before as well, network application security, web applications, so on and so forth. We talk about it. We, of course, the never trust, always verify tagline of zero trust. That's good. It's working. But the problem there is, I think until now, there's no single pillar within the zero trust networks that talks about identity. And that is where the converged identity comes in. Okay? When we talk about converged identity, we're talking about these tools that's used by the market previously as tools, but not as a platform. Kasi sanay tayo chop suey. Okay? We bet on the technology that we want. This is what I want for PAM, this is what I want for IAM, this is what I want for IGA, and so on, SSO, and so forth. But the one of the, not really challenge, but one of the sweet spot that we're missing there is how do we really integrate all of what we can achieve by having this into one platform. Okay? Having all of these identity solutions in one platform would give you an identity-centric type of security. Hindi ka one-siloed. You're not dealing with, oh, there's a threat on privileged access users, there's a threat on identity applications, so on and so forth. Once you integrate all of these tools together, it becomes bigger. You manage your attack surface, okay? You manage your identities. You manage who has access to what, okay? And this is not scripted. It's good lang that actually the time slot is after Huawei, because for one just use case in the Philippines, a critical infrastructure, a user, we're actually using this with Huawei. Okay, they are using Huawei, and then for the years they cannot replace the solution because it integrates fully with the Huawei technology. That's one. I mean, hindi kami nag-usap ni attorney on that one, but yeah, it happens, and until now, that user, which of course I cannot disclose, is actually still an active user of the Arcon Converged Identity platform. So, priming with Converged Identity, for one priming, of course, it prevents user error. Human error, hindi mawala yan. Okay? Like what I mentioned, you hire people, people leave, there's another chance of human error to happen within your infrastructure. The converged identity, it eliminates the attack surface with converged identity. Of course, you apply zero trust, and then boost user awareness and system intelligence. It goes hand in hand. Okay? The use of people, process, and technology, it should always be that way. We cannot live just here selling technology, telling everyone that this is what you guys should do, this is what you should use. But at the same time, the education portion, it should still continue and should always happen. Tuloy-tuloy lang. And that leads you to the human firewall. Okay, so investment on firewall's been there for years, tiering, nesting, and so on and so forth. Different types of application, but now we apply this priming, we have the users be the protectors themselves. So that's about it for my time. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of the afternoon.